Instead of telling you 5 ideas for new markets, what we usually do with our farmers is ask yourself who you are. Do you like farmers markets? Do you like interacting with the public on that level? Do you like driving around all day to restaurants? Would you rather have 40 small restaurants and more intimate connections than being in the farmers market, which means getting up at 4 o'clock or earlier, driving down, setting up, selling, being a people's person, being on cue? Is that really you who can put a smiley face on every farmer's market morning, regardless? How much sleep do you need? So those are really, really good questions because they will come in your production and in your distribution. It's all about distribution and sales. And I'm an economist, and it really comes down, if you can't sell it, you can't make a living. I'm not sure how many people we have in here who would do a wholesale business. You can also, of course, avoid all that and say, no, I'm just going to do my 400 acres, I have wholesalers, and I sell to them, and I'm done. And that's fine if that's what you want to do. The most money, as in terms of value added, and value added could be the processing of food, but it also could be your story is made in artisan food production. And out of the restaurants, if it ends up being, yeah, I don't want to do farmers markets, I actually want to work with individual restaurants clients, and I want to have like 30 or less, and I want to make X amount of dollars, then you go into production. Then you can see, okay, I have 5 acres and I need to grow the weirdest vegetables possible because restaurants love that. What might not be good at a farmer's market only, if you're just known as the wheat farmer, you might get some, interesting looks, but it needs to move. You need to sell it. You don't want to bring anything home, which is the second part of my little spiel here. What we do with around that, can you team up and bringing the costs down? But so if you know you want to deal with restaurants, you like that, more intimate connections, the same faces, 20 a week. You have 2 distribution routes, and restaurants want the weirdest stuff possible. Sales, which is the other part. Can you pre-sell? Can you pre-sell your entire crop in the beginning of the season when you need the money the most? And so out of that will come a business model that will fit to your personal makeup and needs perfectly. And we always think, no, I need to make $50,000. Maybe you don't. Maybe you need to make 25 up until April pre-sold. And then actually you can sustain yourself with 20 coming throughout the year. I'm always amazed when I talk with people how clear they are what they want, and then half an hour later that none of that was true. It's quite astonishing when you really break it open and profile it in that way, what comes out of it. And last thought is it's not about new markets and income out of that directly. There's also the cost of production, and you'll be amazed by using resources in a different way, or sharing a tractor with 5 other farmers, or there are a gazillion ways of what somebody's wood chips are a problem and they need to be hauled away, and we get a call 5 hours later at Marin Organic saying, I need bedding, I need wood chips for my cows, and we just connect the dots, and there's no money exchange. Like the whole concept of bartering, there are endless resources, and what somebody's problem is your solution, and vice versa. There's a lot of ego, as in every industry, as in every movement. There are people who really do this because of something higher, something bigger than us as individuals. And it's all about building trust, not taking anything. People are afraid usually, so it all comes down to you and how you approach it, honestly. It's not them and their fear, it's you. Have you been able to put yourself in their shoes, always walk in their shoes, what they have done, how much credit they need, how we can please them to get that collaboration that you want. If that's what you want, then don't get hung up on how weird they are, but understand them. And then all of a sudden, the gates are really wide open. And now, since the Kyoto Protocol, carbon is traded internationally. In Europe, you get $40 per ton. It's about a ton per acre that you can sequester. In the U.S. opted out of it, of course. But there's a voluntary program. There's a carbon trading platform in Chicago Carbon Exchange, where you get $2 or so. But the state of California released a law which will become legally binding next year, and it demands that companies have a carbon policy in place, which means we will see in the next 2-3 years, I can guarantee you can write that down, that carbon will be traded. It will be as common as Google or Yahoo. We will see it on every package. England has it already. It says this product is carbon neutral. Carbon is the next thing for the next 10 years, and because it is between 25 and some people say up to $100 per ton that farmers will get back for it, we are talking about billions of dollars. Some people say that farming itself will be a byproduct of carbon trading. It's that extreme. Because global warming is so predominant and there's so much opportunity doing it. So yes. And there are carbon footprint calculators where you put in your trip and you say San Francisco, Toronto, it's exactly $400 because you burned this much calories on this, or this much carbon on on your seat that you had in the plane and what plane size. And it's pretty, somewhat sophisticated. And then you can pay for that, and then it gets into good work. Well, there will be soon a time where you pay for it and the farmer actually really gets it only if they sequester carbon back out of the atmosphere. So it's not a scheme. It's really directly taking what I put in back out of it into the soil. And that's amazing to do that. Hopefully having cleaner airplanes soon too. The question is Walmart a model that we as the people really want? It's, they have labor rights issues on their hands. The local dollar, any local dollar spent in your local community gets circulated 7 or 8 more times, some say up to 14 more times. 90% of Walmart dollars go outside of your area, of your county. There's sexual harassment cases. There's driving local businesses out of town and disrupting local communities. There's a whole array of issues around those distribution centers. But really what will change all that in terms of a little bit more decentralizing and even Walmart buying for their size more locally is, again, is the carbon footprint. We have not the farmers market the Prince of Wales visited, where everything comes from a bike ride away. That's kind of our mantra. But we have a local market in Marin County, and it's a great market. It's 400 vendors. And many, or a few are really local within Marin County, but many come from 100 or 200 miles away, up to 300 miles perhaps at the most, 250 miles. And if we take 100 miles on average, 400 farmers, that's 40,000 miles driven for every farmer's market one way. So a local farmer's market still has an ecological footprint of, depending on the size of it, of 100,000 miles driven every market back and forth. So imagine the carbon footprint of Walmart. Those business models will no longer be financeable. They are publicly traded. Again, I'm an economist. It's not sustainability that's driving this. For me, it's money. And it's you can make the most money being the most sustainable. That's the funny thing. The more sustainable you are, the more money you can make. I know for a fact that that's true. And again, recovery times of grassland, 28 days down from 60 or 80. We are talking triple the production. We're talking more grass, quicker back, more fat in the animal, quicker growth of the animals. So you can triple your production, double the herd or triple the herd, and have the same acreage and be more sustainable at the same time. There's farm equipment share, where it's not the land but the equipment that we've seen. There are, of course, CSAs that can be expanded. We have a land trust in Marin County, and the land trust idea where you just sell the development rights. It's very common. You get a big chunk of money and you will never be able to build anything on it other than for your own use for the farm, but no developer can take the land. And you're not legally required to put it back into your operation, but many people do. And the newest thing I've heard is contracts with corporations where you can prove through scientific research and building trust and communication with the right people. If you can prove to Hewlett-Packard or whoever you have in this area here that productivity will be up and sick days will be cut in half, if they commit to a 2-year program of buying a share of your land in advance for 2 or 3 years, buying all your crop if you want that dependency, or half your crop, half your land, you can enter into new corporate model contracts that we are working on right now, where we can say, let's test it. We believe that you will cut sick days in half and productivity will double if you just include completely organic local food and let us do the education around it. People will be fired up. I will be coming once a week and they will be flying high. And so if somebody like Hewlett-Packard's, we are talking 6,000 people campuses or 10,000 people campuses. If there's a car dealer, anything, however you can build that trust and that relationship, there's unbelievable opportunities.